Good morning, everybody. Today I will be doing Unit 5 of the module Introduction to Programming using C++. Okay. So far you might have learned about many things in C++, like starting from the structure of a C++ program, how to declare variables, what are the difference between variables and constants, etc., etc. Okay. The programming statements like if statements, else, if else, and iterative statements, for loop, while loop, etc., etc. So you might have learned a lot of things, functions, etc. So now this is the time to learn about the very important topic of C++, which is the object-oriented programming concepts. Okay. We all know that the C++ programming language is a object-oriented programming language, though we haven't introduced the object-oriented principles earlier because this is the time to introduce. So whatever you have learned before, you can apply them here as well. Okay. So you will be seeing in my today's lesson how, where you will be applying and everything. Okay. I hope you are clear with what has happened in the past and what you will be doing now. Okay. Fine. So basically, what is object-oriented programming? Let's start from there. What is object-oriented programming? Object-oriented programming language, C++ is one of the object-oriented programming language. There are many other programming languages like C++. For example, Java is a powerful object-oriented programming language, and the first ever invented object-oriented programming language is, I hope you know that. If not, go and Google it. Okay. Right. What is object-oriented programming? What is object? What is object? Let's start. So object is, say, whatever you see in your eyes is object, isn't it? We see, when we go to the road, we see trees, cars, buildings and stuff like that. So all those are all objects. Okay. Right. Why are we how are we going to do object-oriented programming in C++? Okay, there are various concepts that helps us to do object-oriented programming. Basically, the intention was to create real-time programming. Okay, real-time programming. Like whatever we see in our eyes are real, isn't it? Like cars or trees or elephant or whatever it is. Okay, it's a real thing, isn't it? So if at all you wanted to model the real things in programming, then go to object-oriented programming language like Java or C++ will help you to do it. Okay, fine. So the basic constructs are listed here in this slide. Basically, if at all you wanted to create an object-oriented program, okay, the first thing is you need to create a class. Okay, class. Okay, what is a class? I hope everybody knows what is class. Class is, there are various definitions of class. I would like to say that class is just a template for you to create object. That is my my own definition, and if you go and refer your books, you might get plenty of definitions for the same class. Okay, all are valid. Okay, fine. So as I said, class is a template for you to create object. Without a class you cannot create an object. Okay, you should agree that. Okay, first thing is, whenever you want to do a object-oriented programming, go and create a class. Alright. So say I want to create, because I always interact with the students and I like to always create a class for a student, okay, because a student object, so you also can understand it better. Okay, I will take student as a class and I will show you what can be done for a student class and etc, etc. Okay, right, let's go to basically. As I said, student is a class. Example of a class is a student. Okay, let's take student. Student class. Okay. Okay, let us define what is object. Object is what? Object is nothing but an instance of a class. Okay. Object is an instance of the class. Okay, say for example, student is a class, is more generalized. Okay, class is what? Generalized. Okay, object is what? More personalized. Okay, personalized means, say, let me say that I see only object, not a student. Okay, I see John, I see Smith, I see Oracle, okay, etc, etc. So each one of them have what? Each one of them have something. I would say that student class or a student have two things in common. Okay, one is characteristic, the other one is behavior. Okay, student is an, let's assume that a student is a class. Okay, student class. Okay, characteristic and behavior. And John is a student. John is a student. Okay, so John is student and we call John as object. Okay, object. So this John will have characteristic and some peculiar behavior. Okay, or else let us also put like this, more generalized. All students will have some characteristics and behavior peculiar to that particular student, isn't it? How to model it in a class? In a class, if at all you wanted to model the characteristic of a student, we model it using what? The data. And if at all you wanted to model behavior of a class, you will use what? Methods. Okay, so so now what are the data members for John? John will have a name, John will have a ID, John will have a mobile number, a address, a physical address, a postal address, etc, etc. So you can list them all are valid data members. Data members are what? You can link it to the characteristic. Okay, okay. What is behavior? What is behavior? Behavior is nothing but, say, John can pass or John can fail in a subject, isn't it? That can be modeled as a behavior, for example. Okay, or John might be shy, or John might be very freak. Okay, that is also a behavior. You can also model it. Okay, like that, there can be n number of objects created for a student class. Okay, there can be John, there can be Smith, or there can be Onalina, okay, etc. So there can be hundreds of objects created for student, and each one of them will have its own characteristic and its own behavior. Okay, I hope you understand this concept. This is the base for object, the object oriented thing. Alright. So as I already told you, classes will have. So there is another definition for a class. Class is what, where you group all the data members and the methods into one single unit and give it a name. Okay, right? So you group all the data members and the methods into one single unit and give it a name. Call it a student class. Okay, right. So we are going to see that. Okay, before we see that, let's go and see. So now we have covered classes and object. Let's go and see the next topic is encapsulation. Okay, encapsulation. What is encapsulation? Encapsulation is nothing but you create classes, right? For in object oriented programming, OOPL. Okay, we create classes. So when we group these classes and data members into one single unit in a class, that is called as encapsulation. You are encapsulating. You know that you might have seen capsules, right? Inside capsules there might be some medicines or chemicals, something. Okay, like that you group everything, data members and methods, into one single unit, and that is encapsulation. And then you give it a name and call it by a name. Okay, and you create number of objects of the same class. Okay, assume student, and there are hundreds and thousands of students, and for all those students they can be used. Okay, that is encapsulation. So encapsulation is just you. How do I implement encapsulation? I implement encapsulation by creating a class. Okay, so when I create a class, how do I create a class? You say class keyword, name of the class goes here, student, and then start creating the data members. I say char name and say 30, and I say int mark, and then these are all what? Data members. These two is data members, and then you create methods. Okay, public. So I will create a method. Say for example, I will create a method for evaluate method. Okay, I will write the method body here, and then I will close the class here. Okay, you see now there how many parentheses, curly brackets are there? Here is one and here is another one. Okay, this is what I'm grouping everything into one unit, and my class finishes here, and the name of the class is here. Okay, I have created two data members, name and mark, and one method called as evaluate. Okay, and I have grouped everything into one single unit. Okay, so this is a class. Hope I haven't done anything inside the method. I have to write the logic inside this method. Okay, the logic is not written, but still it is valid. Okay, so now you might see something here like public and something. What are these? Okay, let's see. In object oriented programming, we have something called as access specifiers. We have three access specifiers. One is private, public, protected. Okay, we have three access specifiers. By default in C++, by default everything is private. Okay, private means the members those are defined as private cannot be accessed outside the class. Private is strictly private. This is introduced because to provide security to the members. Okay, security in terms like when we allow them to access outside the class, what happens is we might what the users or the programmers might damage the object or something like that. Okay, so that is why we have in C++, the default access specifier of C++ is what? Private. Okay, as well you have other access specifiers like public, which is straight opposite of private, means public members will be freely accessed outside the class. That is reason why private members are data members, or members has to be declared private. Okay, as I told you, in C++ the default is private. You can see here in this slide, you see here name and mark I haven't said public. Okay, whereas to evaluate I have said public. Okay, so what is the idea is, we are not going to allow access to this name and mark outside the class, whereas indirectly we allow them by using the methods. So the methods are the only one which is going to access the private members, and nothing else will be allowed to access. Okay, the objects cannot directly access the name and mark of the student, because the reason why is earlier we had two types of programming language. One is, okay, not earlier, nowadays we are still having it, procedure oriented programming language, object oriented, okay, OOPL programming language. So as the name suggests, procedure oriented, more importance was given to procedures or methods. Okay, procedures are nothing but methods, whereas in object oriented programming more importance is given to the data. But though we say more importance is given to data, methods are also important. Okay, you should not understand it in a different manner. Okay, so data emphasis is given to data here in object, and emphasis here is given to method. Okay, examples of procedure oriented programming is C, example of OOPL is C++, Java. Okay, so now you can link it here. That is the reason why the data members are declared as private. Okay, this is private. Okay, and the methods are public. I hope you understand this clearly. This is the base of the object oriented programming. Okay, now what we have did is, we have just created a class. We have not done anything. Okay, just by creating a class, there is no use in it. We just have, that is, as I already told you, class is just a template. Okay, you have a class, just it will be there, it's a template, just that the template, it is not being used. Then how to use it? How you will use it? We can use it by creating objects for that class. Okay, how to create object? Let us see how to create object. So after you complete the class, after this declaration, okay, the class is now completed. You see a semicolon here, so the class is finished. We have created the class, the template is created. Now what we have to do? Now go and create your main method. Main, create objects for the student class. S1, invoke the methods S1 dot evaluate. Okay, so now you see here the declaration, very important. Name of the class goes here, name of the object goes here. We can say S1, S2, S3, or we can say John Smith or Oracle, or Oracle, or on a Lina or whatever it is. We can say hundreds of objects after the in this area. We can say hundreds of objects here. Okay, so all these objects are what? Instance of the student class. Okay, they might have something in common and something in peculiar. Okay, so this is how you create object. Now we have created a class, we have created an object. Okay, and we have invoked the methods. Okay, S1 is object name. Okay, you see here a dot. Dot is the operator for operator to invoke the public members. Okay, whenever you want to invoke the public members, you use the object name first. This is what? Object name dot the public member name. Here evaluate is declared as public. You see here evaluate is public. Okay, so like this I can have n number of methods here, all public. Okay, I can say void evaluate, I can say void get data, I can say void set data, everything. Okay, number of methods I can say. Okay, all those methods can act on the data members declared here. Okay, I hope you are clear. All right, if at all you have a doubt, please don't forget to communicate to us using the Blackboard forum. Okay, so I have now explained you about the classes, objects, encapsulation. Okay, now what is the next thing? Next thing is polymorphism. Okay, so I wanted you to create do an assignment based on this. You create a student class. Okay, and then you create some data members and methods and create object for them, the student class, and invoke those objects. I will communicate to you using the Blackboard. All right, before we go to encapsulation, if you see this, okay, let me show you the real program so that here is the program. Okay, so in this program I have in this program I have created two data members. This is the data members, two data members, and two methods. Methods are here. You see here method, two methods. First one is here, get data. The second one is here, evaluate. The intention of this class is to just get the values for the data members and say whether a student have passed or failed. Okay, the condition is here. If at all the mark is less than 50, the student is failed. If at all the mark is greater than 50, greater than or equal to 50, the student passes. Okay, so for that, the logic, the code, I have written it here. Okay, evaluate method. Okay, and then if you scroll down, you will see the main method. I have created object, one object S1, and then you see get data and evaluate are the public methods. I have invoked it. Get data and evaluate method, I have invoked it. I have invoked it here. I hope the program is pretty clear. There is nothing much in this program. It's a very simple program. Okay, Some things that you need to notice, the very important things are this. I have used the class name, then this the object name. Class name is student and object name is S1. Okay, and as I said, you see here the dot is the operator to invoke the public members, and again the dot, you can see here the two dots. Okay, those are the operator to invoke the public members. Here in this case, the public members are get data and evaluate. Okay, let us see what happens if at all I say S1 dot name equal to, okay, I say name equal to MURU, Muru is my name, so I say Muru. Okay, let us see what happens. I'm compiling. You see there is an error. Okay, it says S1 student name is not accessible. Okay, because S1 is a student name, the name variable, you see here, it is having a private visibility. Okay, as I told you, in C++ the default is private. Though you are not saying here private, all those members that are not or does not have any access specifiers will be considered as private. Okay, but still you can go ahead and say private, not a problem. You can just say private for clarity, but the default is private. Okay, that is why you got the error. You got this error. Okay, you see the error is here in this line, it is highlighting. So once I comment this, and you will see and now I say MURUGESH is a student, mark is 76, Murugesh, congratulations, you passed. Okay, and then now let me say again Murugesh, I say 49. Okay, Murugesh, you failed to pass. Okay, so this is coming from the method evaluate. You see here the evaluate method, I have coded it. So this is coming from here. It's very simple logic. You can do it by yourself. Okay, if you understand, you can very easily do it. Okay, so carefully see the program. You should follow all the structure of the program, the class structure, the void main, everything. Okay, I hope I'm clear here. So now the thing is, I wanted to cover up what is encapsulation. Okay, sorry, what is polymorphism. The definition of polymorphism is, poly means many. Okay, poly means many. If at all a method is able to have many forms, if at all one single method is able to have many different forms, then that method is called as, or you have implemented polymorphism. Okay, so the definition is, this definition is for method overloading. Method overloading is defined as like this. Okay, method overloading is creating a method and which can be a method that exhibits more than one form. Okay, how more than one form? Okay, a same method, different forms. For example, let us take an example, a live example for polymorphism. When you go to school, okay, you are a student. Okay, and when you go to your home, you become a son or a daughter to your parent. Okay, right? Or when you get married, you become a husband to your wife, and when you give birth to a child, you become a father or a mother, right? So what you do, you have shown up different behaviors at different time, isn't it? Same thing. Same thing can be done here. It is one single U able to behave differently at different times, right? The very same thing. If at all a method is doing the same thing, that is called as polymorphism. Okay. Okay. How a method will do like this? Let me show you how. Say I have declared a method here. Okay. I have declared a method and it is called as evaluate. I say void evaluate int a comma int b. Okay. What I'm doing, I have two different methods, not different methods, two methods of the same name. Okay, you see here the method name is what? Evaluate, and see here the method name is what? Again evaluate. Okay, but what is different? This method, the first method, does not have any parameters, is no argument or no null parameter. Okay, no parameters. Okay, but in this method we have two parameters. So what we are doing? We are doing something called as method overloading. Okay, method overloading, and this can be done by creating more than one form of the same method, but different in number of parameters or the type of parameters. Okay, it's not or, it's and. Okay, number and the type both are permitted. Okay, if at all we are creating 10 evaluate method with different number of parameters and the data type as well, then you are doing what? Method overloading. Okay, that is polymorphism. One example of polymorphism. There can be method overloading, there can be method overriding, there can be operator overloading, there can be constructor overloading. All are examples of what? Polymorphism. Okay, I hope I have explained it clearly. If at all you don't understand, you can always contact me using the mail or Blackboard. Save it. Let's go back to our PPT. Okay, so data hiding is nothing but how I do the data hiding part. Data hiding part can be done by, as I told you already, it can be done by what? The access specifiers. Okay, the access specifiers, as I told you, helps you to hide the data or allow the visibility of the data. How to hide it? Private will hide it. How to allow it? Public will allow it. Protected is another thing. We will see it in inheritance. Okay, inheritance, you will see protected. Okay, fine. So today I'm not doing inheritance. It's again a vast topic. It has to be done in later on. So I think we have come to the end. Okay, the last one is abstraction. What is abstraction? Abstraction is nothing but, abstract means what? Not defined fully. Okay, not defined fully. Abstraction is not defined fully. When you do research work, you are asked to submit an abstract. Abstract is just a plan. Okay, a plan for you to say what what you will do it for that particular research in future. Okay, same thing. Abstraction is just, if you at all you are just listing out all the necessary data members and the methods for a particular object, then it is called as abstraction. Though we may take it or we may not take it for the implementation stage. Okay, It is just a plan. Abstraction is a plan. Okay. I think I have explained you everything. If at all I have missed anything, you can anytime contact us using Blackboard. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.